Hello everyone and welcome back to Platform 1. It's myself, Jack, joined by Dave once again, and we're here to give you an hour of fantastic model railway news across 00 air, no gauge, everything you like.
We've got something for everyone this week, right from the really smallest stuff straight through to new releases in O, as you see here, some great models in 00 as well. Whatever your era, whatever your scale, there's something for you on Platform 1 this week. That's
it. Of course, regular viewers last week, we do apologise for the issues with last week's episode with some big streaming bugs there with YouTube, unfortunately, but we've managed to get here this week. We've crammed a few of the bits from last week's show into this one too, as well as some brand new items, as you can see on the table, as Dave's pointed out there as well. And we're excited to get going, really, aren't we? But
we are indeed. We've drawn symptoms a little bit now from Platform 1, but it's good to be back. So
we've got to do this every week, haven't we? We've got to do it. Right, we've got a few people in the chat here already, which is great to see. We've got Gareth Waite once again this afternoon. Ethan Amstutz, good morning from the USA. Combat Bunny says hi there.
Hello.
Gareth Waite again says morning. We've got Caitlin Lethal One says hello everyone. Bluegrass Rail Fan, morning guys. Hope it's been a good week and hope YouTube is cooperating today. Hopefully it is as well.
We're in business today.
Looks good today. We've got Ben Davis says hi Jack and Dave. We've got 700 Shunter, good day from Australia. And we've got Crompton Model Railway saying afternoon from a very wet and cold May. It is very wet out there today, isn't it?
It's not too good outside today, but
too great.
Nice and warm here in the Platform 1 studio anyway. And speaking of temperature, we've got some hot topics to really get onto today, haven't we? So we've got to start by taking a look at the new Oxford Rail announcements. Now these were last week, but are really still hot off the press. 4 new tooling options from them in the 2020 range announced so far that we see on the screen there as well. So some really good various different models. The first to talk about, as you see here, is the North Eastern Railway J26.
That's it. So this is a really exciting one that Oxford's come through here. Building on their previously announced J27 as well, which the J26 fairly similar to the J27, but a bit of an earlier design there, wasn't it? It was produced by the North Eastern Railway. About 50 were built from 1904 to 1905. And as I say, there was the earlier version of the J27, which Oxford are also producing. But there is some very subtle differences in there. I believe it's the cab side windows and the spectacle plates, which are different between the two classes there. So
you're absolutely correct there, Jack. Excuse me. Looking at the locomotives there in the pictures, they are very similar to the J27 design, and that's because they are the forebearers of those locomotives, really, the original specification, and then developed and produced into the J27 later on. But they're still just as an important part of that North East Railway scene as well, where there's an area of lots of new, really good, high-quality models coming out for North Eastern Railway modelers. Absolutely. With the J27, the J26, we've seen Hornby's Q6 as well there, and these locomotives ran right through from that 1900s era straight through into the 1960s, some of the last locomotives to run on British Rail in that era, in that area as well.
So many locos from that area that had that such fantastic, reliable designs that they were able to last for 60 years in operation, which is unbelievable, really, when you think about it. Some even longer than that as well. So it does enable a huge variety of layouts to take advantage of one of these as well. And there's a lot of stock out there as well, isn't there? A lot of rolling stock for these mostly freight locomotives to perform with as well.
A perfect rate for these would have been something along the lines of a 21-ton steel hopper or a mineral hopper as well, 16-ton wagons that a lot of our viewers will have on their layouts too. And to really come across those eras as well, there's 3 different variations being initially produced, with the LNER livery for the 1920s and 1930s, right through into your BR variations with early and late crest, as we see here on the screen now as well. And the great thing is there as well, they're available for £93.50, which is DCC ready with a 21-pin socket. Or, if you don't fancy getting your screwdrivers out and opening them up, you can get them with DCC sound already fitted, with which Oxford Rail have confirmed will be recorded from the sole surviving J27 as well. And that will be £178.50. And of course, they're all available to pre-order now as well.
And as we've seen from Oxford Rail, they've got fantastic form for producing these sorts of locomotives already. We've seen great stuff with the Adams Radial, of course, the Dean Goods as well, which we have on the table right in front of us here, and we will be covering that later in the show as well. And you know, the N7 as well coming through there. But the tender locomotives that you produced have been fantastic. Really nice levels of detail on there. Great sound files, but coming in at a very friendly price there as well. Sub £100 for a tender locomotive such as this, of a medium size, I'd say, is really quite a great price there. And under £200 of sound fitting, you can't really go wrong with that, can you?
And if you're a 00 modeler, there's always room in a collection for a workhorse locomotive as well. You can have your prestigious Pacifics and, well, the LNER and the North East is full of those, really, with the A3s and the A4s, but also these reliable engines that just went about the duties. These are really matched with the details we've seen on the model so far as well, mainly in the J27 variation, which has a really high detailed cab. You've got space in the tender for a decoder and speaker, or you can buy the pre-fitted sound version as well. A lot of separately fitted detail, full work pickups on every wheel as well, so you've got a whole lot in there really. And as you said, Oxford are really getting a name for high quality steam locomotive models, and to see the J26 joining the J27 really gives something for the North East modeller and those slightly further afield to really think about.
Absolutely. It's like you touched on, it's a workhorse, isn't it? It's one of those locomotives that was just out there doing its job, getting on with the things that needed to be done. It wasn't flash, it wasn't fancy, but it had a really important role to play, and it's really great to see these sort of locomotives coming into model form and enabling you to get those really realistic services on your layout too.
And Oxford has a great name for building some of the not more unusual but more work-a-day items as well, and we can see that from the next item they've announced, which is the Cowans Sheldon 15-ton crane. Now, cranes they've got to be the in thing at the moment in model railways.
Yeah. There's so many of these coming out. Obviously, we've got our own Hattons 00 gauge crane coming through, covering that sort of 1980s, 2000s period. But, you know, with this one, this is getting right into the early days here with this intricately designed steam crane from the sort of 1890s. And it's like you say, these really are in vogue at the moment, aren't they?
This is almost the genesis, to use the term, of mass manufactured rail cranes really, with 29 of these built between 1893 and 1895. They were used with many different pre-grouping companies, so a lot of the familiar names such as the South Eastern Chatham, the Caledonian Railway as well, all across the country. But as with the J26, just because they're a pre-grouping design doesn't remove the longevity. These survived right into the mid-1960s as well, working with similar vehicles and still doing the duties they were designed for, even alongside some of BR's diesels too. So real longevity there, over 60 years of operation, many different colour schemes, and Oxford are initially bringing out a few of those as well. But they are also producing the curved and the swan neck jib to have the two distinct designs there as well.
That's it. Now, from our research, you know, you touched on these were very early of these mass-produced cranes, but it seemed to be that pretty much everyone was after one of these things.
Yes.
From what we've seen in the books that we've got, pretty much every railway that you can think of had one of these cranes. They all placed their orders for them. So there was obviously with 29 builds, there was a few about, but he did get to move around quite a lot. And obviously, as Dave said, lasted a huge amount of time there. Obviously built in the 1890s, but surviving right up there into BR use. So it is incredible the life that these small cranes had, but they did have a very important role to play with breakdown trains and on various other infrastructure duties as well. At the moment, we've not got full specifications or a price confirmed for these, but you can sign up on our website and get a pre-order in for each of the different codes that you saw on the screen now anyway, and we should have further updates throughout the year on this one as well.
And Oxford have promised us that this is going to be a high quality model as well. Not quite sure as to what parts will be movable and posable yet, but as you touched on there, that is something that will be confirmed soon. And those 4 variations that are available to pre-order so far, you have 2 BR liveries, as you can see coming through on the screen now, 1 in LMS and 1 in LNER2, but as we've touched on there's many options for the future liveries here as well, going back into the pre-grouping designs. And one thing that I really like about these cranes as well is, as you can see in some of these pictures, they were treated just as highly as the locomotives when it came to liveries. So whereas a usual wagon wouldn't get the full enhancement, shall we say, a lot of the cranes got fully lined British Railways liveries, painted just as highly detailed and specified as the locomotives along the lines that they ran. So
they really did care for these things, didn't they? They wanted to treat them correctly, and you can see the intricacy from the photos. There's a lot of detail there, and I hope that will be coming through on the model too. So it will be a lovely looking piece for the layout as well, won't it?
Now, one question we've had regarding this, and quite a few of you have asked this already, is in a lot of the photos there, you'll have seen the crane with a little support wagon in front of it to balance the jib on, and we've had many questions asking if that's going to be supplied with the model. Now, if you look at the photos closely, you'll see that they're all slightly different, and these were converted or changed or built or adapted dependent on who owned the crane, so no two are the same. Now, what Oxford Diecast have said with that is they will supply recommended vehicles that you can use that are maybe already in your collections, but they will supply the support for the jib in with the crane, so you can modify your own wagon to make the perfect vehicle for you, which to me is a really nice touch.
It's a really fantastic move that from Oxford really there, especially with this era. There was so much, you know, diversity on the railways, and every railway was going for what they needed the best out of the stock that they had. So there was a lot of custom designs there and a lot of chopping and changing to suit the needs of the railways at the time, especially with them existing for so long in use. They had to kind of keep with the times and keep them updated and make sure that what they were using was correct with them. So I think it's great that they've enabled you to run these exactly how you want them, but they're giving you the tools out of the box to get that wagon looking just right. So I think that is a fantastic move from Oxford, really.
And another thing that this has enabled as well, looking at the wider picture, shall we say, is this now gives ready-to-run cranes available from the 19th century right until the current day as well, with the Oxford Rail crane covering from the 1890s to the 1960s, Hornby's own 76-ton crane covering from the 50s right through until the 1990s, our own Placer crane coming through, which covers from the late 1970s to the current day. If you're a 00 modeler, there's a crane for you now. You can have a crane on your layout. It doesn't matter what era, what location you're on, you can't escape a crane. So it's really good that that gap's been filled now. And as we said, cranes really are the in thing at the moment. Totally. So whatever layout you've got, do take a look at what we've got available or forthcoming. Or if this particular crane's piqued your interest, have a look at that link in the description and get your order in now.
So as you say, infrastructure breakdowns, that is where it's at the moment. If you do want to get one of these, I would recommend getting your pre-order in now as well, because they are sure to be very popular, as with the other cranes we've seen, really, because the orders for those have been absolutely monumental, really. Just take a look at the comments here, because we've got a few already.
I thought we may have done.
Both the crane and the J26. So let's go back and take a look at what we've got here. We've got Medway Peninsula Model Railway says he's ordered the Hattons Placer crane for the modern era period, and he will ordered an Oxford Rail one for the early years too. So
fantastic.
Different
Good
options
mix.
there.
Good mix.
Beauty of some of these is some cranes you still can see about on preservation railways, and they still have a role to play as well. Yes. So you know there is a lot of different options there for you. Ono Mulder asks, will the crane be DCC capable?
That still is something we're waiting to get confirmed by Oxford Rail as to how operational the crane will be. But again, as soon as we have that available, we'll be updating our descriptions, we'll be sending out emails. So keep an eye on us as soon as we know more. And of course, we'll feature it here on Platform 1 as well.
That's it. We've got Medway Peninsula Model Railway again, says got the Hornby one too, so now we can cover all periods, which is great. We've got 700 Shunter says the crane is what you will pair with an LSWR engineer's wagon from Hornby.
I believe the LSWR did actually have a couple of these as well, so authentic preparation already in place there.
There you go, there you go. We've got Tristan Clark asked about the tender wagon coming with the crane, which of course that won't be there, but you will have the jib support with the crane to enable you to run it with whatever you like, really. We've got Richard Swiderski says love the cranes from Oxford Rail and just asking about the price. We are waiting for a confirmed price from Oxford Rail on those, but as we say, we should be able to update that as soon as it comes through, so do keep an eye out for that. If you do place a pre-order as well, we'll keep you updated every step of the way with the project to let you know what's going on with it. We've got Ben Davis asks, will the Oxford Rail Cowans Sheldon crane be in LMS and LNER black?
It will be indeed. At this initial stage, all 4 liveries will be black, but as we touched on previously as well, there are some really exciting opportunities with these, especially in the pre-grouping era, when they do get more fanciful, shall we say, colour schemes. So the 4 initial variations are in black liveries across your BR, LMS and LNER, but that's only the start. That really is.
I really can't
see
them
many liveries.
It's like I say, looking at the history books, everyone had one of these things. So I really wouldn't be surprised if there's lots more to come in the future, really.
Not at all.
Now on to the J26. We've got a couple of comments on that. We've got 700 Shunter asks if there are any pre-grouping liveries coming for the J26 or the J27.
Again, similar to the crane, where at the moment we've seen the big 4 liveries in the LNER style and 2 BR liveries, both early and late crests, coming through for it at the moment. But again, we can't rule out that North Eastern Railway livery is going to be in there somewhere with the locomotives being built 20 years before the grouping. It's bound to be a future release from Oxford Rail, so if we hear anything, we'll let you know.
That's it. I can see that happening. We've got John Lawless here, says J26 and J27 both on the wish list there, which is a great idea because then you'll get lots of updates on those. Yep. We've got John D, says he's not seen an Oxford Rail N7 in his local hobby shops in Melbourne, so hopefully he might be able to get a J27 or J26 in the future. And then we've got John D says Oxford crane looks like it'll be better value than other cranes out there at the moment. So we'll wait and see what the price is on that one. But it's looking to be a great value one for the amount of detail and the operational opportunities.
Specification of it as well. And of course, we're only halfway through the new announcements there actually with the crane and the J26. And this one, a little bit more obscure but no less exciting, is their actual GER Great Eastern Railway 10-ton van.
Yeah, this is a really important release, this one, isn't it? It's one of those where you take a look at this van, and that is just the ubiquitous covered goods van, isn't it? That is what you think of when you think of a covered goods van. And these things got all over the place, really, didn't they?
Well, initially there was around 2,000 of these built for the Great Eastern Railway, which operated sort of East Anglia of England, coming up from London to Norwich, etc. Built between 1911 and 1923, mainly operated around that sort of area until then. But once they'd been formed into the LNER, that's when they spread far and wide. They really got all the way through the territory, right up into Scotland. They've been seen in Dunbar, but also into Southern Railway territory as well, used for cross-London freights as well between the different companies. So again, it's one of those vehicles that starts off in a little part of the world, but really starts to spread its wings later on, goes right through into BR as well. So again, as we've covered here with pretty much everything we've covered so far, some great longevity in this as well.
Absolutely. They've really picked some projects here that are suitable for a lot of different layouts and a lot of different eras and regions there. Now, there are 3 different variations which you will have seen on the screen there being announced so far. We've got the Great Eastern Railway livery coming through, we've got LNER, and we've also got BR there as well. So a nice mixture there from pre-grouping right up into BR use, again displaying the longevity that these wagons had. They're coming in at just £13 as well, so it's really great to be able to get quite a long rake of wagons there for not a huge price. And obviously with these being a brand new tooling, we're expecting these to look the absolute business as well. Of course, with these, obviously there we had the real life photo to show you there, but we should be able to get more information on these throughout the year, hopefully, with some more updates, and we should get further confirmation on the specs and some more information about deliveries too.
And anyone who's already familiar with the Oxford Rail wagon range will know that their 4-wheel wagons really do just ooze quality. You've got full NEM couplings there, metal wheels, a lot of separately fitted details. They've already released various vehicles such as the plank wagons and the open wagons, with tank wagons to come through as well. And to see these covered goods vans joining the range, we know what we're going to get there really as it comes to with quality. And these are great for customers who've got a lot of the locomotives that have come through for the Great Eastern Railway, and the last 5 or 6 years have been perfect for this, with Hornby's B12, the J15, Oxford's own N7 locomotive, but there's not a lot of stock to run with them at the moment in that era. But now we've finally got some freight stock to go with those locomotives, so a really great time to gather your Great Eastern collection and put some vehicles behind it.
I think it's great to see this, not just Oxford, but a lot of manufacturers bringing through some of these pre-grouping items, which we're seeing all across the railway. There was lots of these things produced.
Absolutely.
And as we've seen with the ones from Oxford today, they survived right up there into BR use. So these were long-lasting stock, and they were very important parts of the railway. So it is fantastic to see these coming through, and it gives something for those lovely locomotives of yours to run with as well.
That's it. So 3 down, 1 to go.
That's it. And that wasn't the only wagon, was it?
It wasn't the only wagon, no. This, coming back to the engineers and infrastructure side of it, this is the Pilchard wagon, which is a little bit of an interesting one actually. You can see there on the screen that it's quite an unusual bogie design. And this was actually a wagon developed for transporting ballast and spoil from relaying the railways. 50 of these were built in the early 1950s, lasting right through into the 1980s, and they're bringing through 2 variations in the BR Black as we see it there on the screen.
That's it. As you can see, we've got that real life photo there for you on the screen once again, and we should have further updates on this one coming through from Oxford later in the year, so we'll keep you updated and we'll have it on the show whenever we get an update on these as well. 2 variations coming through, as you will have seen, in the BR Black livery, and again, these are looking to be about £13 each as well, so a great price for what is quite a big wagon really as well there, for bringing the ballast and spoil around the network.
It's an absolute bargain for that size of wagon, a big bogie wagon with full sides as well. And this, for those of you who've been sort of modelling a more modern era, may not have been too hot on the steam era releases that we've just covered, this is your model for your BR Blue diesels, this is your model for your BR Green diesels. Now this really is the infrastructure relays of the 60s, the 70s, the early 80s. Great to grow with a lot of vehicles that are already out there, such as the dogfish wagons, the catfish wagons, sea lions, sea cows, all those engineering vehicles that are out there in 00 with fantastic models, blue or green diesel on the front, maybe a late steam locomotive in black, absolutely perfect combination there as well. So as we touched on before, engineering trains always popular, and you can always pose them on a part of your own layout that you're building as well to make it that little bit more realistic, but bound to be just as popular as everything that's gone before.
That's it. And again, this is another one of these projects where these are workhorse wagons. They're not one of the most well-known things out there, but they had a really important role to play. They could be seen across the network there, and it's something that really needs to be in model form, really. It's a really important wagon, and it's great to see this coming through.
And it's great to see all 4 new projects announced by Oxford are really intelligent choices as well, that combine with other models already out there that you may or pretty much will already have in your collections. So some absolutely fantastic joined up thinking, I think is the term.
That's it, absolutely. And you can check all of these out on our website right now. Obviously, we will have further updates on all these coming out throughout the year, probably into 2021 as well. So do check those out and keep tuned to the show. And if you get your pre-ordering as well, we'll keep you updated every step of the way there as well. Now, we've got a few more comments here about the other projects we've got coming through. We've got 700 Shunter here, says definitely buying some of the GER vans to go with his XLSWR 700 class, which is a really nice pair in there. We've got SLD51, says nice 10-ton van. James Akers says GER 10-ton van in BR livery is going to be ordered on payday, live in Norfolk, so just got to go.
And one thing to bear in mind with there as well is we don't take any money for pre-orders until they come in stock. So if you do want to take a pre-order now, you're more than welcome to sign up. The bonus being, as soon as we get those updates, we'll send them right to your email inbox as well. So no money needed, and you'll get all the latest updates. What's not to like?
Exactly, you're part of the project then, aren't you? You're all part of it. We've got John D says, good to see more pre-grouping goods wagons. Totally agree there. Even more needed are pre-grouping brake vans as well to match the pre-grouping goods locos. So some good ideas there. We've got Tristan Clark says, yes, more engineers wagons on the Pilchard there. Medway Peninsula Motor Railway says, likes the look of the Pilchard wagon too. James Akers says, the Pilchard wagon will work well with Dapol's Bogey Bolster E-wagons as an engineering brake. And he thinks he'll be ordering some of those so he can get a full maintenance train on the go. Sounds really good. That's a really good idea. Yeah, I'd love to see how that would look. And then we've got SLD51 says, Oxford Rail great with the RRPs there. So there are some great prices on these. £13 for some of those wagons is incredible, really. Real bargain. Real bargain. Right, where are we going to go next, Dave? What do you want to cover? Well, one thing we've really talked about over the last few weeks, last few months ever since we announced it, is our Genesis coach project. Yeah. And we have some updates for you on this. Now, you may have already seen that we've put out regarding the London, Brighton and South Coast Railway coaches, which have now been moved forward to batch 1 as well. We've put some colour schemes out for these so you can see the initial liveries being created there. And to confirm, these are being made in the mahogany livery, which is from the late 19th century through until about 1911 or so. So many similar vehicles are in that livery and preservation as well, and you can pre-order these right now on our website. That's it, and you can check out that fresh artwork all there on the website too. Head to the link in the description, you can have a really nice look at those photos. But you've been quite busy, haven't you? You've been doing a lot of research, haven't you? We have, yeah. We've been covering a lot of the pre-grouping companies as part of this project, and we realised that actually a lot of people aren't quite so familiar with the operations out there of both the pre-grouping and the big 4 companies as well, who they are, what they did, where they operated. And you may have already seen the London, Brighton, South Coast video that we've uploaded on our YouTube channel, giving a great explanation of the company and how it operated. We're going to give you a bit of a sneak preview because we have produced some more that we'll be releasing over the next few days and weeks, and this is a little sneak preview. Now, we'll give you a clue as to who it's about, but I'm sure you can tell us in the comments as to what company we're looking at here. Shall we take a closer look? Let's take a look. Let's cut from Dave and cut to Dave. Sounds good. 1923 saw the government put into place the Railways Act of 1921, merging over 100 companies into 4 large groups. These were created to both help the companies make money and improve the service for passengers. The main companies to make up the Southern Railway were the South Eastern Chatham Railway, the London, Brighton and South Coast Railway, and the London and South Western Railway. The Southern Railway controlled all of the railways in the southeast of the UK, with a large focus on the commuter railways, which were very dense in this part of the country. It also ran services as far west as Cornwall, covering almost the whole of the south coast from Kent. It also held the most major London termini operating out of Charing Cross, London Bridge, Victoria, Waterloo and Cannon Street. Oliver Bulleid became the CME. Great stuff there, really, isn't it? It's so fascinating to learn about these different operators, because I'm sure there's some little facts in there that you might not have heard of, even if you are aware of these different companies. So there's quite a lot of these videos coming out, because you've really been getting your head into the books there, haven't you?
Yeah, I know people have a joke when I say it, but it's been a really busy week off Platform 1 as well as on Platform 1 this week. So we've got those coming through. That was a little sneak preview of our Southern Railway video there, and the full video will be available to see soon, as well as we're covering all the companies which form the batch 1 of our Genesis releases. So we have models and videos forthcoming for the South Eastern Chatham Railway, the Great Northern Railway, all of the big 4 companies, departmental, LNWR as well. So all the companies that are in the Genesis project batch 1 will have video explaining exactly who they are, where they operated, and of course the Genesis coaches are coming through as well. They're all available to pre-order now, not only in the batch 1 liveries, but if you take a look on our website, there's full details there for all the future batches we're intending to make as well.
That's it. We just want to say thank you to everyone for their involvement and your support with the project as well. Of course, we're making these coaches for you. We want this to be the perfect coach for pre-grouping layouts and upwards to be high use as well, really, of course, of the longevity of these things. But, you know, with it being the design there it is, we want to make sure it's absolutely perfect for you guys. So it has been fantastic to get all of the amazing advice and information from the community in there as well. So it is really very much appreciated.
And we do always appreciate your feedback as well. So please do keep it coming.
That's it. We love to see it. Now, we've already got a few comments here about it. They're lighting up on the switchboard over here. We've got Ethan Amstutz says, how is the Genesis project coming along? And can't wait to see some samples. So there will be many more updates on the project as we go through 2020. Of course, everything will be covered here on Platform 1. You can check it all out on our website too. If you do pre-order the coaches as well, you'll get that straight to your inbox if you want that as well. So you can be really part of the project in that way. And yeah, we should have many more updates to come. So keep your eyes peeled. AD Pullen as well, they're just asking for any updates. Douglas Wright, are Hattons going to release any Genesis coaches that don't feature company markings?
We've no intentions to at the moment, but there are a lot of vehicles in there that either have small or very minimalistic company markings as well. If you did want to change those to be your own company or something along those lines, there's certainly opportunities there as well. If you do want a little bit more information on that, do get in touch with our help desk and customer experience team, as we can give you a little bit of guidance on where to go there as well.
Absolutely. We've got 700 Shunter says, will there be a Hattons liveried P-Class to go along with Hattons liveried Genesis coaches in the future potentially?
Certainly a nice idea. If we've made our own pre-grouping coaches, I'm sure we could have a go at making our own pre-grouping company as well. But at the moment, we do still have a few Ps available in some really exciting liveries as well. So if you're after a Victorian, Edwardian tank locomotive to work with your Hattons Genesis coaches, they're a really great loco to choose. So do take a closer look.
It's absolutely worth getting that order in now, because it won't last forever, as well as remaining P classes. We've got Richard Lewis says, great show again. How about a Gladstone LBSCR to go with the new LBSC coaches?
Oh, now that's a tempting one. That they're a 042 tender locomotive. Really unusual wheel arrangement for one of those tender locomotives. There's one preserved in the National Railway Museum in that improved engine green as well. Really well renowned for the high speed as well, with the full Royal Train branding it has in York at the moment. So tempting idea there. But if you do have any ideas for projects we should make, do send them through to ideas@hattons.co.uk. As we mentioned previously, we're always receptive to your ideas. A lot of the projects we've made are from community feedback as well. So any ideas for projects or models we should make, please do send them through.
Absolutely do. We've got James Akers says he saw an abandoned Genesis style coach in someone's field about a 10-minute drive from where he lives, and it was such a shame. It's a nice little carriage. Now, this is something that you see a lot of with these 4- and 6-wheel coaches, is that because there was so many of them, and they had to unfortunately get rid of a lot of them once they became surplus of requirements, you do find that a lot of them were just chopped up and converted into sheds, into holiday homes in some cases, chicken coops, the works really. And there's a lot of them still out there if you go hunting that are still in people's fields, in people's gardens, at the sides of railways, things like that. So it is fascinating really where these things have ended up, and I believe that there have been some that have been rescued from those conditions and put onto new chassis in the past as well. So It's a fantastic story for the 4 and 6 wheelers, isn't it?
It is indeed, and that's part of the story we're telling with the Genesis project, really, of just the fascinating histories of all these different vehicles and the many, many opportunities that you can bring one of them onto your layout.
Absolutely. We've got Bluegrass Railfan says the territory map in the video there was quite useful to someone like me who could use a visual reference of the territory served. So we do have some other maps on the website too, showing you the different areas of operation for some of the companies. But of course, with Dave's fantastic videos that will be coming out, there's some more information on those as well. So check those out and you can get some really useful references there. We've got 700 Shunter says some of the LSWR Genesis coaches I want to incorporate into an LSWR engineers rig as well as run some small local branch trains. So some great ideas there.
Sounds like a good opportunity. Maybe mix that with the Oxford Rail 15-ton crane we've mentioned before. So.
Absolutely, great idea. We got Ben Davis says, can't wait to see the coaches. Sparky107 says, loves history videos behind what we like to model. So impetus for you to do some more.
Quite a few more coming through, yeah. So keep an eye and do subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, and you'll be the latest to see all of those come through.
Absolutely. We've got 700 Chunter says Genesis Coach is probably one of the most anticipated models ever. So
really hope so.
I hope so too. Nice bit of excitement there. We've got Gareth Waite says he's got 2 lots of 4 with lighting on pre-order in the olive green and crimson too. So I'm sure you'll love those when they come through. Medway Peninsula Model Railway says I have more orders in and looking forward to using them with the SECR Wainwright. And then we've got Matthias Krigsman says, already got myself Hornby's H-Class in SECR to pull the upcoming Genesis coaches as well. So everyone getting very excited and getting all their locos ready for this one.
Absolutely. Can't wait to see the coaches on people's layouts and with their rolling stock.
That's it. Well, talked a lot about double O gauge today, haven't we? And a lot of stuff that's forthcoming. But I think we need to talk about something that's actually here for you to buy, don't we?
Let's go big. Well, let's go big in threes, I think, as well, and 30 threes as well. So didn't plan that one either. So this is the latest release, the fully updated model of Heljan's O-Gauge Class 33 locomotives, commonly known as Cromptons, and these were built between 1960 and 1962. And a lot of these used across the south of England, really familiar diesel locomotives with really popular enthusiast following in that part of the country. Ran right through, as we can see on the screen now, into the 1990s, really started to spread their wings around the UK just before they were withdrawn. Still a few in use today with some private operators as well, and Heljan's really worked this model from the ground up. It was first released about 10 years ago, but they've started again, done a full modern model of this now, as you can see in front of us here, with a lot of different variations covering the whole lifespan as well.
That's it. So this is covering the 33/Euro subtype here, isn't it? But there's 10 different variations, as you will have seen coming through on the screen there. And as you say, this is the whole lifespan of the class, really. You've got something from the 60s right up to the 2000s, as you can see right here. You've got those original BR green colour schemes. You've got blue. You've got Civil Engineers Dutch. Of course, getting into that sectorisation era with Network Southeast and rail freight construction as well. Into the 90s there, you get the BR Green 90s version, the Eastleigh one. And then we're getting right up to 90s in the present day almost with Direct Rail Services and of course EWS here as well, so into the early 2000s a little bit there as well. But there's a lot of variations in here as well, isn't there? So as you might be able to see from the fronts, we've got the versions with the high intensity headlight there and without in its original condition. You've got some different roof equipment here with the pods on the cabs, and there's a few other little variations which you can find in there as well.
So it's covering these locomotives right through their lifespans as well. And the model really does live up to the hype too. Heljan really do have a name for O-Gauge diesel locomotive now. We've featured them on Platform 1 a few different times before with several new releases coming through. And they have a really vibrant history, a lot of different colour schemes as we've seen on the screen. Many different duties as well, working just as commonly on passenger trains as they do on freight trips as well. Nuclear flash traffic up in the northwest in the 21st century. Many of them in preservation, as you can see on the screen there as well. So some great opportunities to get one of these onto an O-Gauge layout, big or small. But the model as well really works up to that. You've got the working roof fans, you've got the digital capacity of the screw terminals in there as well. Different variations as you touched on before. full LED lighting rather than the bulbs on the previous release as well. Huge amount of detail both inside the cab and outside of the body as well.
It's not just all cosmetic either, is it? You've got the pull and power to match. As you'd expect with a Heljan loco, you've got those dual powerful 5-pole motors in there as well. So this will haul anything really, anything you can throw at it, you can get it on there. But yeah, detailing wise, it's absolutely stunning, this one, isn't it? You've got fantastic bogie detail on there. Just tipping it over to have a little look at the cab, you've got really nice, you've got the handbrake wheel in there separately, separately fitted, and all of the levers and stuff, and it is a fantastic looking thing.
And of course we do have some really up close and personal photos on our website. If you click the link in the description, if you do really want to see one of these go under the magnifying glass, that is the place to look. You'll see all the details there that we're talking about, and of course you'll be able to order one as well, as we do have them all in stock. They're available for $466.65 each, and of course you do get free postage on that as well.
That's it. So do check those out. There's a link in the description right there, and you can find out all about them. We've got some great information on the website with some more photos of the real thing as well, so you can see how these worked. There's some great photos of these on Flickr as well, because there was so many in use, and they've worked for such a long time. As you said, very popular in preservation too, so I think there's 29 preserved or something like that. So you can see them all around the country if you want to go and hunt one out today and take a ride. So fantastic loco for Euro gauge collection there.
And one thing we've not covered as well is this is the first time they've released a factory weathered version as well, which is still quite a rare thing in O gauge, but a really great sample too. We've got full photos of the weathered version on our website as well.
It's something we've touched on a couple of times now, is the factory weathering that we are seeing from Heljan is absolutely fantastic as well. As you'll be able to see from this one, which we do have more photos of on the website, it is gorgeous, the weathering on these. So definitely want to check out if you're looking for something a bit filthy feeling out. Few questions here. We've got Ben Davis says, Class 53 looks lovely in the EWS maroon and gold there. Bluegrass Rail Fran says, EWS scheme is a favourite of his as well. Tristan Clack, Civil Engineers Dutch, obviously their favourite there. Will Braddock says, love the look of the 33s. Don't suppose you have any more news on the 25/3 and double O gauge?
Now we are expecting that towards the summer. We're expecting to see decorated samples of that very soon. If you head over to our website, we have pictures of the revised engineering sample on there, and also a hand painted sample to give you an idea of how those decorated ones will look. But again, as soon as we get more info on that, we'll be featuring it here on Platform 1 and on our website and social media as well.
That's it. And then we've got James Akers here, says, nice models, and never realised that the 33s went into the 2000s with the EWS livery ETC. So they did survive a long time, and they were still on pretty vital services into the 2000s, weren't they?
They did indeed. The EWS ones just crept into the 2000s, really, only by a couple of years, but that's when they started seeing their most travelled time of their lives. They went right up to the top of Scotland after 30 years in the south of England. They fancied a bit of a holiday, really.
So they went
right
really.
to the top of Scotland. But DRS continued to use them for several years after that. West Coast Railways still use them today as well. I believe there's actually been a couple in use this year already.
Well, there was the controversy last year, wasn't there, in the Lake District, and they actually pressed some into service on the Lakes line there. So that was fascinating to see, and a lot of enthusiasts very excited to jump on board that through the Lakes, wasn't it? So
it's great to have a bit of a modern classic there, really, and as said, with the size as well, it's great to have a modern classic on an O gauge layout.
Absolutely. Right, something completely different now then,
Let's take a look. Now, it's been sat here, we've already had questions about it, and to be honest, it's hard not to miss, is it?
That's it. I mean, it's sitting there, right there. It's pretty much bigger than these O gauge locomotives. It's Oxford Railgun. We've got to cover this thing once again. Yes. Now, this is the long anticipated digital sound fitted train pack version of the Railgun. You get your ROD 2330 Dean Goods here in that lovely ROD livery, and of course the Bosch Buster Railgun once again. And this one is, the locomotive is fitted with full DCC sound there, and it does actually have the sounds of the gun firing too, doesn't it?
It does indeed, and that's, for everyone who's asked, that's on function 18 of the decoder. But we can actually show you the sounds as well, because it's not just a gun, it's full loco sounds too, a great runner, and what better way to see this in a video, so let's take a look.
That's it. You said it had been a busy week outside of the show. Here we go really again, has. So let's cut to Dave.
Bring military and railway history to life on your layout with the Oxford Rail Dean Goods and Bosch Buster Railgun Digital Sound Train Pack in double O gauge. The pack depicts the pair in World War I condition, with the gun camouflaged and the locomotive in Railway Operating Division khaki. The Dean Goods features all the sounds you would expect from a fully featured sound decoder. What makes this model unique is that it includes sounds for the gun to really bring the model alive. So if you are looking for a model with something extra special about it, the sound-fitted Bosch Buster Pack could be the one-of-a-kind model that you're looking for. Get your own sound-fitted locomotive and railgun by following the link in the description.
Top work there, Dave. Fantastic to see that railgun in action and with the firing sound there as well. So a lot of people have been asking what that sounds like, and of course you confirm it's on F18 on your controllers there as well. So great, lot of bit of play value there really with this one, isn't it? So
there is indeed, but it's also a really important part of railway history as well, with vehicles such as this heading over in the UK, but also to the Western Front in France as well. So used all across. So a lot of the Dean Goods locomotives were used over there as well, not only to haul the guns around, but also on different freight duties too, helping support the troops over there. And of course, they're available to order right now as well, as we mentioned in the video, for £247. So you can order them there. If you're not into the sound, we do have them available without the sound as a train pack as well for £153, but that's also through the same link there. And these are great for customers who've, well, anyone really who's interested in railway history, military history. They go really well with a lot of Oxford die-cast military vehicles in 1/46 scale as well. So really great opportunity to get one of these onto your layout.
Absolutely, and it's just a fascinating collectible, if anything, as well. Just something really interesting. There's nothing else like this in modern railways, really. And the fact that, you know, when you do want to run it, it runs perfectly as well. Some of the curves we've had this down to is unbelievable, really, for the size of the thing. The bogies really have been designed well to allow an amazing amount of flexibility in there as well. So it's a fantastic runner, and it looks great too. So a great one for your collection. We've got a few comments here on it. We've got Grongston Model Railway says, Oxford Kettle and Pea Shooter just need an ammo wagon, crew coach and a brake. We've got Bluegrass Railfan says, the gun just needs a smoke generator to send a puff of smoke out every time you fire it. I'd love to see someone try that.
Some really great opportunities to get this going, maybe with a couple of LEDs flashing in there as well. I'd love to see that if someone does it.
That's it. A few firecrackers around it or something as well, maybe. We've got SLD51 says, does the digital train pack work on DC, and will there be any sounds on DC?
On DC, you will get the locomotive sounds which operate as per the locomotive moving around your layout. You won't get any of the controllable sounds such as the whistle, the gun firing, etc. But the exhaust, the chuffing, shall we say, of the locomotive will work on a DC layout.
Brilliant. Got Somerset Andy says, that sounds awesome. And we've got SLD51 says, did the Hattons layout change? It looks a little bit different. So we've got a bit of an updated layout there, haven't we? Just for some better testing. Yeah,
we've made a whole new layout, as you saw, a bit of a sneak preview of there in the video to really make some exciting new videos there, which we'll be showing to you shortly. So really looking forward to that. Now, the next subject is definitely a more modern image locomotive as well.
Absolutely.
And that's our own Hattons Class 66. Now, we have had a few questions about this recently, asking about the latest releases of both the sound versions and the forthcoming stock of the other 37 liveries there as well. Now, for those of you who really want to know the latest, within the last sort of 15-20 minutes or so, we have put an update on our website regarding that as well, and that is going through to people who've pre-ordered, that's going through to people who've registered an interest as well. So either check your inbox or check out the website, and the full latest information on our forthcoming Class 66s, really recently updated, is available now.
That's it. It's one of the hottest locomotives of 2020, so there's plenty to come with the 66s this year, and that information is out there right now, so do go and check it out if you're looking forward to a 66. Right, so we're on to Peco now, aren't we? And we've had a couple of, an announcement and an update from them as part of the 2020 update that they've put out.
Now, this was a little bit of a surprise, really, and weren't quite expecting a full new announcement from Peco, but really glad we've had it, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this expands their forthcoming Festiniog Railway narrow gauge range, which is coming through in 009 scale. If you're not that familiar with 009, it's the same scale as 00, but runs on N-gauge track to replicate a lot of those narrow gauge railways, the great little trains of Wales, etc. And absolutely brilliant models coming along in that growing scale, and this is just the latest.
That's it. So what we've got here are what are called bow-sider coaches, which you can see on the screen right now. These are a type of bogie coach that were produced for the Festiniog Railway by a few different builders. And they're called bow-siders because of the shape. They bow out at the edges, as you can see. And there was 4 of them built between 1876 and 1879. And incredibly, every single one of them are still in use to this very day. From 1870s to now, they are still in constant use, which is just unbelievable, really. And it goes for a lot of the stock that is on the Festiniog Railway and on other Welsh narrow gauge railways too, in that they've had unbelievable lifespans, really.
These are over 140 years old in real life, and it showcases the Festiniog's pioneering spirit. One of the first railways in the UK to use narrow gauge steam locomotives in 1863, one of the first to use bogie coaches on a narrow gauge railway in the 1870s, as we see with these as well. The first to use the double fairley locomotives with the two-ended design as well. The Festiniog's always been a pioneer, and it's great to see it pioneering the 009 scale as well in model railways, as we already have locomotives coming through from Peco and Cato. We have the bug box coaches, which should be with us very soon, and to see the bogie coaches coming into that range now as well really complements this as well. And Peco are actually already on the development plan for this. They've already shown a very, very early 3D printed sample. Yeah, we've got a bit of an exclusive look at it here. We've got a few images of that early sample. Of course, this, as Dave mentioned, it is just a 3D print, this one, so it isn't a final sample at all, but we should have further updates on this coming through the year as well. And this, at the moment, as you can see there, we have not many details on this at the moment, other than this model. The price, the specification, and the livery variations are all still to be confirmed. So if this is of interest to you, we fully recommend signing up to email alerts via clicking the link in the description, as there's lots of different liveries this coach can be produced in over its 140-year plus lifespan. 4 different vehicles there as well. So as soon as Peco confirm those details, we'll let everyone know. We'll be putting it on platform 1. But at the moment, it is an announcement that these coaches are to be made. And as soon as we get more info, we'll let you know. That's it. But if you are interested in these, definitely do head to our website and sign up for updates. There's no money changing hands. It's not an order at that point, but we will get in touch with you as soon as it is available to go on to pre-order, and we'll switch that over to a proper order for you. And of course, by doing that, you'll get all those updates straight to your inbox as soon as they come through. So it's the best way to keep involved with the project, really. But it is fantastic to see just really advancing more items coming through into the narrow gauge scene. It's such an exciting part of modelling, really, at the moment. There's a lot of different items coming through. As you touched on, of course, you've got Peco and Cato producing 2 beautiful little locomotives coming through there from the Festiniog Railway as well. And there's a lot of other stock already out there. You've got Heljan's, Linton and Barnstable 262 and the forthcoming 242 coming through as well. Other coaching stock from Peco out there, and there's a lot of different wagons that Peco produce, and a few other manufacturers are producing more 009 items as well now. But the second thing we got to look at from Peco is the double fairley that you touched on, isn't it? So it is indeed. We've got a bit of an early look at the 3D prints for this too. And this really is the first physical stages for this project. So we have advised, and Peco have advised as well, that this body shell has been created just to make sure the initial dimensions are okay. As you can see on the screen, it's missing a lot of detail that's still to be added, but we've been promised that these locomotives will be packed with detail as we expect, really. And these are a very unusual design of locomotive, built for the line starting in 1869, and a locomotive still under construction as well, one fully new build there. And this really is the Festiniog Railway in a picture, in a locomotive. It is the epitome of the Festiniog, this, isn't it? Just that revolutionary, unique designs of locomotives and stock coming through, and they just push forward with lots of different things. As you touched on, 1869 that these were designed from, and you've got that new one being built as well. But we are really excited to see this one coming through. It's going to be it's just such an interesting project, this one, isn't it? It is indeed, and as per the Bosch coaches, the full specifications, livery options and price is to be confirmed on this. So we do fully recommend signing up for those email alerts again. With 6 locomotives built, there's a lot of different opportunities for liveries there, working through the maroons, the greens, the reds that these locomotives have carried, again over 140 years of variation there. So both projects, as you can see, at the very early stages, right at the initial stages at the moment, but we're promised those in 2021, and as soon as we get more information, we'll let you know. Absolutely. So do check out those links in the description. You can get all the information that we've got so far, and stay tuned for what's coming further in 2020. Now, we're coming up to about 10 minutes left in the show, but we'll just cover a few of the questions on the Peco items, and then we'll head into our Q&A and give you some quick-fire questions. Sounds good to me. Right, we've got James Akers says, I hope someone decides to produce some of the Bure Valley Railway locomotives and the rolling stock that they have, and it seems like a bit of a missed part of 009. There's some great opportunities there to bring through narrow gauge items, whether they're the 15-inch railways such as the Bure Valley, right through 2 foot with the Festiniog, up to 2 foot 3 as well with the Tallaghclyn Railway there. So 009's a growing scale at the moment, with more and more coming out every year, so it might just be a matter of time until we see Bure Valley and similar items come through too.
Absolutely, it really is a growing part of the hobby, and the more you get involved with it, the more we're likely to see, I suppose.
That's it.
We've got Tristan Clack says, is there any engineers narrow gauge trains at all?
There's some opportunities there. If you have a look through the range of wagons that Peco already have available, there are some wagons we have in stock that are used for moving rail and moving sleepers around as well, flat wagons and bolster wagons, and we do have those in stock right now as well. If you can't quite find what you're looking for, do get in touch with our customer experience team. It will help find those for you. Absolutely.
We've got Black Mountain Station says, are the couplers on the coaches the ones that they'll have on release? Now, as we say, this is a very early 3D printed sample, and I believe it's probably got a chassis from a different coach.
Yes.
Just on there to just display what it might look like. I'd imagine that is probably similar to the couplings that we'll have, but that is unconfirmed at the moment. Yeah. And once we have further information on that, we will have better images and more updates on our website. 700 Chunter asks, are the Tallaghclyn Railway locomotives going to be produced in 009? They will be good to pair with some of the Festiniog and LMBR locomotives.
It's not something we've seen at the moment, but some of the coaches are available. The ex-Glyn Valley tramway vehicles that are used on the Tallaghclyn Railway today are available right now in the Peco range, so you can get your Tallaghclyn rate started, but certainly to see locomotives come through in the future is something I wouldn't be surprised.
That's one of the beauties in narrow gauge modelling as well, is that in the real world they do tend to move these locomotives around the different railways very frequently. So it's something they do a lot of sharing, especially with the Welsh railways. They do like to share about their locos quite a lot. Obviously the L&B locos have transferred to some of the Welsh railways a few times. There's a lot of great photos of that going on out there. I believe there was one with the bow-sided coaches on before as well. So even if it might not be precisely for the railway that you want to cover, there's always a bit of an opportunity to get one on there. Absolutely. Because they do tend to move around quite a bit. 700 Chunter as well says the double fairley locomotives is one of his favourite narrow gauge locos. And then Joe Light Railway says, will there be any train packs for the Festiniog Railway?
It's certainly something we may see come through with all the different vehicles available. As we've touched on, a lot of the details are still to be confirmed on these projects, but once we know the exact codes and how they'll be produced and available to order as well, we'll be featuring those on our website and letting you know here on Platform 1 as well.
Awesome. Right, so are you ready for some quick fire questions in the Q&A?
Let's go.
Let's do this. There's lots here for you to cover.
Fantastic.
Right, we've got Black Mountain Station here, and he says, we've got such cool knowledge. What would our thoughts be on having a Jack and a Dave channel?
Oh, that's an opportunity. I mean, I like to think that the Hattons channel's not our channel, but it's certainly we've got a strong part of the channel, but we're not the only thing on the Hattons channel as well. We do have Platform 1 here every Friday, but in between we always upload great videos of running sessions on locomotives. As we touched on previously, a lot of the history there as well of the railways, lots of different videos going up all through the week, so make sure to subscribe. But a channel of our own, might have to have a word after the video.
You never know if you think we can do it. But
thank you for the suggestion.
Thanks for your suggestion, but obviously all of our videos are just all in one place here on the Hattons channel as well, so you've just got one place to subscribe to. You don't have to worry about any other channels at the moment, so
that's it.
You can check us all out on the Hattons page. We've got Charles Curtis says, will you be able to update us on the Hormy 2020 catalogue coming into stock?
Now, we have got those in stock right now and they're available to order as well. We did sell out of them for a short period, but we do have them in stock available to order right now on our website. If you're looking for it in the search bar, it's R8159.
Brilliant. We've got Tristan Clack asks, how far away is the Port of London Authority Peckett, and would we potentially look at doing a Port of London Authority bundle with the Janus locomotive and PLA wagons as well?
Certainly something we may see. The Peckett's coming through within the next week or two in that really distinctive dark blue livery, but certainly an option to do the pack there as well with the Port of London Janus locomotive that we have in stock and the wagons too. With no plans at the moment, with them all being available separately for great prices, but it's certainly something we can look into.
Brilliant. We've got James Akers asks, hope you're both well. We are. Hope you are too. Just a quick question, would we Hattons ever do a weathering service at some point in the future? Now, that's not something we're looking at right this second, but we do really appreciate that suggestion. It's a really great idea, and we'll be sure to pass it on to the powers that be and see if that is something that could happen in the future. We've got Crompton Model Railway says greetings, just to say thanks for supplying some Dapple Imperium 3 decoders to get his O-gauge layout running. So very glad to see you've got that up and going.
Great way to get started there, and do send us some pictures through of your project as well. We always like seeing what everyone's doing with the models they get from us.
Yeah, that's it. We've got Black Mountain Station says Platform 1, most informative loco channel I found for UK locos. So thanks for your hard work and research, guys. You're very welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that. We've got Marius Musig says, how is the princess turning out? I'm not sure if that's the royal or the coronation there, but...
Now, I imagine that'll be the royal with Hornby's forthcoming model. They did announce new variations of that in BR Green and Maroon as part of the 2020 range, and the 2019 models are still coming through. We're expecting those towards the end of the spring. If you have a look on our listings, we do have images of the production samples available there as well. Really nice looking model coming through there with a flickering firebox as well. It's really worth a closer look there.
Really excited to see the one come through. It looks absolutely stunning, that. We've got Elton Loveridge says, any news on Class 66 digital sound models? Of course, as Dave touched on a little bit earlier,
yes.
There is an update right now on our website, so if you go and check that out, that should give you some more information, but obviously we'll keep everyone updated as it goes on.
Yep.
We've got Somerset Andy says, any news on the January release of the Hornby Class 66?
Now, we are expecting those in within the next few days or so. There's 4 liveries of those coming through, including the PD Ports livery in there as well. Keep an eye on our website, as the stock will be coming through really soon on those. And of course, you can pre-order one now to get them when they arrive.
Brilliant. And we've got Richard Svidersky says, what coaches would be good on a Foxfield Railway type locomotive?
Now, that's a little railway in Staffordshire, right in the middle of England, that operates industrial locomotives and short rakes as well. I am aware that they do have some Mark I coaches in maroon livery, which you can get in 00 scale and N and O as well. But a great opportunity for our Genesis coaches there as well. They've just restored some North Staffordshire Railway vehicles, which are 4-wheelers too, in a really nice livery, very similar to the LNWR livery actually. So if you're looking at modelling that particular railway, some great industrial locos, including our Barclay, and those LNWR Genesis coaches might be the way to go.
Brilliant. We've got Stratford MPD 30A. So it's a bit late into chat, but just looking for an update on the A3 and the A4 and O-gauge. Of course, the original lot of A3s are available to order right now, all of the pre-numbered and named ones. We should be expecting the unnumbered ones into stock at some point within the next few months, I believe. And the A4s will be due within the next few months as well. But if you do check out our website, there are full details of when everything will be coming through. And we try to update the listings as often as we can to give you a precise date. So do check that out on the website. Clive Cobold says, any news on Dappol's YCV turbot wagons?
Now, 2 different releases coming through there actually, and that is the 00 re-release in EWS and Civil Engineers Dutch livery that we're expecting towards the end of February, and the wholly new O-gauge model as well, which is coming through, which we're expecting end of February, early March time. So whether you're an O-gauge or a 00 gauge modeller, fantastic ballast wagon there, would go great with the Pilchard we featured before as well, and some really great opportunities for both scales, looking at about a month's time.
Brilliant. We've got Charles Curtis asks, does Hattons have any updated release information on the Dean single Achilles from Hornby?
Now, that is something we're still waiting for a little bit of an update on. We were told that it would be with us just into the new year, and it is still coming on the way. So we are expecting that one very soon. As for an exact date, we don't quite have one yet, but as soon as we do, we'll be updating our listings and letting you know.
Brilliant. We've got a couple of questions from Joe Light Railway and Ben Davis asking if we'll be at the Bluebell Railway Model Rail event and the Great Central Railway events this year. Not too sure if we'll be going to either of those at the moment, but we do have a full exhibition calendar live on our website right now. If you go to the company news section on the homepage, and that shows all of the different events that we'll be going to. I believe at the moment we'll be attending the London Festival Railway Modelling, Worley, and the Great Electric Train Show as well. So do come and check us out at those. We've got SLD51 asks, what Japanese trains do you guys own? I think Jack or maybe Dave has an Engage Aizan electric railway train. I've got an Aizan electric railway train, so that's mine. I've got a few actually. I've got an Aizan. I've got I can't even remember what I've got now. I've got a few different, a couple EMUs in there as well, so I might have to share those on Platform 1 at some point.
But a few different ways to get into Japanese railway modelling now, either via our pre-owned section, which I believe is how you've done it with a few of your items.
Certainly was.
But also we offer the HO gauge Shinkansen unit as well, the Zero series, which is the initial Shinkansen train right from the 1960s, the iconic bullet train that you can see in the National Railway Museum in the UK, as well as at home in native Japan as well. So some really great opportunities into getting modelling in Japanese railways as well.
Absolutely, but if there is anything like that, or even from other parts of the world as well that you are interested in, do check out our pre-owned department. Every single day there's new items that go on there, and on the weekdays, and you never know what you're going to get on there. There's quite often American items come through there, European stock, even Garden Railway stock and Japanese items, as I often get lucky enough to purchase. So do check out the pre-owned department, and you never know what you're going to find on there, really.
But make sure you keep your finger on the pulse, because some of those really popular items do go quickly.
That's it. Right, unfortunately, we're coming up to the end of the show now. We've just got one more point, which I've got to read out from Black Mountain Station, and he says, is Dave a computer from the past? Because his knowledge seems sharp as. So I think he might be.
Oh, I couldn't let you in on the secret, I'm afraid. It's a bit of a secret, but I'm just glad I can share it with everyone here, really. It's fantastic to talk model railways, and you guys have got some great knowledge as well, as I can see through your questions. And we're always here to communicate our knowledge. So as you see there on our channel, we've got some great videos on the models and the histories of the railways ourselves. The Facebook page, our website has some fantastic articles, not only on models, but history and formations and details and guides as well. You name it, we've really got that info somewhere on Hattons, whether it's on the YouTube, Facebook, or our website. So do take a closer look.
That's it. There's plenty of great knowledge that we try to get out there and try to give you as much information about the products as possible. So it is appreciated that you do think that as well. So thank you very much. Now, I can see there is a lot of comments here today, so thank you very much for all the fantastic questions. Sorry if we didn't get a chance to get to yours, but we tried to cover as much as we can. If there is anything else you want to ask, do get in touch with our customer experience team via email, phone, social media, whatever way is best for you, and they'll be sure to help you out with it as well. But I think that's it for today, so thank you very much for joining us. If you are new to the show, this is every Friday at 1 p.m. GMT. If you are tuning in from somewhere else in the world, covering all the latest news in model railways and answering some of your fantastic questions too. Everything we've shown today, whether it's available now or whether it's on pre-order, you can check that out on our website using the links in the description. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and check us out on social media, like our Facebook page, check us out on Twitter, and check us out on Instagram as well, and check out all the latest news on our website too. And I think that's about it.
And all that remains to say now is thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you here same time next week, 7th of February at 1 p.m.
That's it. Look forward to seeing you again next week.